It's New Brew Thursday! Woo! And we're at Blind Lady Ale House with Lee Chase.
Hey
there. And you're the partial owner, you're the brewmaster, you brew for Automatic Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Which is that like connected to Blind Lady Ale House, or is that just like a separate?
Well, it's kind of our pet project as we got this space and it had a beer and wine license. And instead of waiting the 9 months it takes to actually get a license to brew, we decided we'll open as a beer and wine place. There's plenty of great beer to be had in San Diego. We have an awesome climate, yeah. So it wasn't too difficult to just fire up taps and put a bunch of good beer on tap. We started applying for the license to brew beer soon after we opened, and it took a while. When it came around, I said, okay, well, we can make a little change here and there, and wind up with a basically 1.5 to 2 barrel batch size brew system. So it's pretty small and very inconvenient. We were closed on Mondays here, so I gotta tear apart the kitchen, move a bunch of the equipment out of the kitchen, build the brewery in the kitchen, brew the batch, tear out the brewery, put the kitchen equipment back.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that is really annoying.
Yeah.
I've also heard that you have to hang upside down in order to mash because there's no room.
Yeah. You gotta like repel in from the upper.
Exactly. He's bat brewer.
So it's not very convenient, and sometimes if Monday doesn't work out, I can start a batch of beer like around 11 when the kitchen closes at night, and then just make sure I get out of here by 11.
Overnight brewing.
Yeah. And that beats
that's
you up
gotta
a
be
little
fun.
bit. Yeah, it kind of sucks. It's like, wait, that's production schedule there.
About 3 in the morning, you're like, why did I just become a doctor?
So a little tiny bit of beer comes out of it. It's been fun though.
And you've been brewing some like charity style, like growler. You do like charity style growler fill beers. Like you did the Will Ferrell's oatmeal IPA, which was phenomenal.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was really good beer.
I think when John and I talked about doing that on a show once, I was like, oatmeal IPA. I'm like, that sounds really gross. Like, I don't think we should do that. And he's like, no. Let's get the growlers and let's check it out and see. And
well, it's Lee Chase.
Yeah, it was. You'd try it. So it was really good though, and I love what it did for the mouthfeel on the beer.
Yeah, thanks.
So it was really good. I had to eat my words, and they were delicious.
Yeah, it's having such a small batch size. It makes it convenient or easy or logical to make something a little bit different, a little bit odd. If it didn't work out or if it wasn't the greatest beer, then well, you only have 1.5 barrels to suffer through it,
exactly.
So it's not that bad. It's almost a pilot-sized brewery that if things work out well, we can just share it with everybody. So not everybody, but a little bit.
And you used to be the head brewer of Stone, right?
Yeah.
So is it nice coming to a smaller operation after coming from such a giant one?
It is. It's I think it went from like the biggest brewery in San Diego to the smallest. So it's a nice transition. It's been different. Different challenges for sure, but this is, when I got out of, I went to UC Davis and studied malting and brewing science.
Oh, cool.
And then when I got out of Davis, I ran another brewery in 95, 96, and then Stone opened in 96. And I started late in 96 and then was there until March of 2006.
Right.
And so we just built that new brewery, and it was a good size, 125 barrel brew house at Stone, at the new facility now. And in my head, I kind of, as a young brewer and studying brewer at college, I thought it'd be great to be able to make a lot of high quality, flavorful beer. And I think after being on that system for about 6 months before I left, and I could kind of check that off the list, like.
Right.
Hey, I'm making a lot of
done.
Yeah, we got like 400 barrel fermenters all over the place. I think that is a lot of beer. So this is
that's about what I drink on a weekend.
Yeah.
So
This is a nice change of pace, I think.
What are we drinking today? This
is a beer that earlier this year I started on this idea that I don't drink coffee much.
Right.
I just kind of started tasting it more recently, and I wanted to learn about coffee, and there are people that consider themselves really, coffee aficionados or snobs or whatever.
Right.
And I thought, well, I want to find out if there's any merit to that, and because not being really into coffee, I was like, yeah, how do you get snobby about that? It's not good. But,
nice.
But I've actually discovered quite a
My
bit.
coffee tastes a lot worse than your coffee. Whatevs.
So it was mostly an idea to brew 6 different beers that have coffee as component ingredients. I've always liked coffee beers, but I wasn't a big coffee fan.
Yeah, I never.
Well, I think that most people agree that the aroma for coffee smells really good, but when you try to drink it, it's too bitter, or it's like an acquired taste.
Yeah.
So.
Just like beer.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it works really well in beer. So, well, cheers to this. I want to give it a try. So
It's a coffee dark mild. We're calling a Tanzanian Devil.
It's a
3.6% alcohol.
So it's a nice breakfast beer.
Well,
there's a
Yeah, that's cool.
that is good.
for this year and over the course of the year, I'm hoping to brew 6 different coffee beers of different styles. This is number 3.
Okay.
Did an imperial brown ale with some oak and coffee for the
Sounds
first
really
one.
good, actually.
They did a beer, kind of like revisited a recipe. The first recipe we brewed in house here was a beer called Chocolate Rain, and we
I heard a lot about
rebrewed
that beer when it came out too.
Yeah, we did that with coffee this year, and called it Coffee Rain. And
Yeah.
and then
Are
this
you
is
planning
the
to
Tanzanian
rebrew
Devil.
Chocolate Rain again, or because I heard that there was like some, not necessarily issues with the name, but I mean like it was people found it confusing, or I don't know why they would. Like,
Well, there was, after we kind of named it, it was a total joke name that we were home brewing some stuff at my house, and my chef and I were making different batches, and he had a beer name for the batch that he was doing, and he's like, and so I just said, oh, I'm making the Chocolate Rain, If you've ever YouTubed Chocolate Rain, watch the video, it's pretty, it's amazing. And the Darth Vader, Chad Vader version is really good. So yeah, YouTube that. And so it just kind of stuck. And then I realized that the brewery up in Orange County, they did like 1 firkin of a beer that they called Chocolate Rain.
Yeah.
And I guess that one was pretty notable. And so then people were like, wait, they already have that name. Like, okay, they brewed less than I brew, which is difficult. I mean, they only made 1 firkin. I made like 3 firkins. So,
Nice.
but yeah, so and then we just started calling it Chocolate Rain too. But then it's, whatever.
It's all beer.
Yeah, if you're from this
Tastes
area,
delicious.
you know that if you put out a beer called Chocolate Rain, and the brewery puts out a beer called Chocolate Rain, that they are 2 distinct beers. You just got to deal with it.
You want both.
And we're,
Exactly. Yeah.
You want both.
And
And
they're
both
both-
are delicious.
and both are pretty limited. As it turns out, so
exactly.
we're not going to have any lawsuits or cease and desists over it. I don't think. I haven't heard from the brewery yet, but
Yeah, I doubt you will.
Patrick, man,
We love you, Patrick.
yeah, he's great.
So you're pretty famous for Lee's Mild, which was
At least in our
That
world.
was the
at
worst.
least in our world.
The worst selling beer in Stone's history.
Well, I know,
Was
but
it
there's
really?
something to be famous about,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're more
because it
infamous.
went
Right,
completely
right.
against what Stone's
Right.
whole policy on beer was, but it was we actually did Lee's Mild on a show. It was, It was about 11 years old.
Wow.
But I actually stole that out of Greg's cellar and forced him to open it for us.
And it was really, really
And it was
good.
really good. It held up
Yeah.
over the years
That
and
old,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
But I would have liked to have been able to have been around the area and tried it back in the day. I would have bought some.
Well, that beer actually. Okay, the name Lee's Mild is obviously not a very crafty or engaging name. Nobody really. You call a
They're
beer
like,
a mild,
"Who's Lee?"
and they're like, "Yeah, who's Lee? And what the hell is a mild? Who wants that?" And for a brewery that was kind of known for establishing itself as big, bold, in your face, and over the top beers, to say, "Hey, this beer is just as expensive to make." Pretty much, but doesn't have half the alcohol of Arrogant Bastard, and there's no hop character either.
Right.
So, how about that? And it just
You were like,
it's like,
nah,
Yeah.
I'm good.
You're
I'll
like-
stick with the Arrogant Bastard.
why would anybody want to drink that?
You're ahead of your time, I think.
Maybe
The world
But-
wasn't ready for your wisdom and grace.
But in a weird way, this is a brewer's beer. Like last night at the National Homebrewers Conference, a lot of brewers came up and were drinking it, and we're like, "Oh, this is great!" It's like I can have a couple of these and not get loaded,
Right,
and
yeah.
I think brewers really like that. And back when the Lee's Mild thing actually occurred as a project for the Real Ale Festival that Pizza Port's been doing. I think it was like one of their first or second festival ever for Real Ale. I said, we should brew a beer that actually would be traditionally served on a beer engine, like in an English pub, like Real Ale. Let's make a mild. So I made this just one firkin of a mild and sent it to the festival. And back then they used to do like Brewers' Choice Awards and People's Choice Awards, and there's an award kind of thing with it. And so the Lee's Mild won the Brewers' Choice Award.
Wow.
And then it got written up in the newspaper locally in the Union Tribune by the guy who covers the beer scene. And so we're like, wow, that's, we're going to call it a completely different name and have a little more marketing, a little more panache to it. And then since it had all this other, you know, strange publicity, we're like, well, maybe just call it that because that's what people already know it as. You know?
Yeah. So you're actually known around this area for your pizza as well.
Yeah.
And so we have some of your delicious pizza that seems to have plant life on it.
Yeah.
You're a vegan, correct?
I'm vegan, yeah.
Which is why you're studly and sexy versus us carnivores. That,
We're not.
You know, I ate a whole pig this morning. What?
I had a steak this morning.
So,
You know who else is
And
vegan?
some
I found
eggs.
out he was in, came down for the National Lumber Conference, Ron Jeffries from Jolly Pumpkin.
Really?
He came in and had some food, and my wife found out he was vegan, and it's like, high five.
That makes sense.
So,
yeah, that does make sense.
I know, I'm kind of thinking maybe you can just look at people and go, that guy's probably vegan.
Yeah. It's like you have vegan radar.
Vegar. That could go so many different places that we're not going to go. So I'm going to hand out a couple of plates.
So what's on the pizza?
This is our potato pizza. It's got, on your side anyway, the
The carnivore side?
carnivore or omnivorous side. There's cheese, there's some pecorino romano, I think there's fontina in there, kale, there's a little bit of orange zest, there's green garlic, obviously potatoes. Our chef is pretty ridiculously
Yeah, I was wondering if that was
overqualified.
kale.
So, yeah, it comes out. I mean, it's such a hot oven. Kale, you know, you think throwing a leafy green on a pizza
Right.
would just be all wilty, but it's actually really crispy and.
Well, I'm going to go vegan.
Right on.
I'm going to try the
cool.
vegan
You go, Steve.
lifestyle for this 5 minutes of my life.
Oh.
So I used a napkin because I'm ghetto that way. So.
All right, cool.
Ooh, it's light.
Yeah, it's a thin crust pie. We make a lot of stuff in-house, so we do some meat curing. We obviously make our own dough and that stuff every day.
Oh, wow.
We do a 36-hour proofing on the dough, so kind of we want some of the character to develop in the crust.
I want my kale.
Man, that is really good.
That is tasty. Now, do you use spent grain at all? Or?
No, because of the brewing, probably because of a number of things. I'm not sure how well the spent grain would work in the pie. So that'd be a bridge we'll cross at some point down the road when we expand and use it more often.
I used them once, and basically it's the dough with grain in it.
Yeah,
You taste the grain. It's
It's like a definitely a whole wheat.
husky,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
A little more
So
chewy, probably.
it doesn't really add much to flavor or anything. Maybe just texture.
Yeah.
So.
Because spent grain, yeah, there's some protein in it, but it's not. It's basically in that acrospire, and then there's a lot of fiber. But we kind of stick to some of the. We're a bit of a hybrid of like VPN, like the serious pizza making Italy style Napoleon pizza.
That's cool.
We hybridize some of their philosophies. Some Caputo flour, which is the standard for the basically, if you're gonna do things as traditionally as pizza can be done, you'd use Caputo. We don't have a wood-fired oven because we're in a historical building. This is a 1928 building, so if we had an extra, $100,000, we could probably get some politics to work our way and
Let me
make
just
some
run to an
things change.
ATM.
I don't know.
So,
I got this New Brew Thursday money.
that's right.
Right, if we rolled as large as you guys, we could do it.
So what do you see as the future for like Automatic Brewing Company? Do you see it becoming a full-fledged brewery in the future and pumping out some bottles, or?
That would be cool, but I just not to take over from what you're going to say, but I kind of like how niche it is and it's just special. You have to come here to get it, and there's not a lot of it. That's kind of cool.
Thanks. Well, we're forced into having it be really small and limited. I'm kind of like making it happen, even though it shouldn't be. We shouldn't be brewing in this building.
Right.
Like completely unequipped for it. But we're making it work out. We got a little space and we got license, but in the about a year ago, we expanded into another, the part of the
Where we're
building
at
we're
now.
sitting in now.
Yeah.
So within that expansion, we have another room in the back that got filled up pretty quickly with just, construction materials and tools and everything else. Well, as we're developing organizational skills, we're getting some of that stuff put into spots, and that'll turn into a fermentation cellar in the back of this space. So in the next, I think by the end of the year, I was saying like by summer we'll definitely have beer coming out of this place in a 8.5 barrel batch, or about that.
And you might get your weekends back a little bit.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, at least not have to try to pull overnighters in the kitchen.
All right.
But I'm building a new brew house now from a lot of boneyard equipment, from fellow brewers around the area who've just had, they've outgrown some stuff and they have some extra things, and I can buy little odds and ends and put it together. So
That's cool.
it's kind of, it's been a really,
It's like you're recycling.
I'm feeling
keeping
the,
things going.
the community in San Diego is ridiculous. Like every time I turn around, I'm like, I mention to somebody how the brewery project's coming, and they're like, oh, you know what? I've got this. Do you want it? Yeah, totally.
Totally.
So
Just going to Starbucks and there's like a bunch of brewers in there. What's up?
It is,
It's a secret Starbucks where all the brewers meet to discuss world domination plans. So,
but it's great. It's really encouraging just to see how friendly everyone's been. And
right on.
I owe a ton of thanks to the guys at Pizza Port. Everybody there is awesome, super friendly, and have been a big help. And guys at AleSmith have been great. Green Flash has been great. Craftsman Brewing up in Pasadena has been phenomenal. That guy, Mark Jilg up there, gave me a really, really good deal on a lot of, kind of shitty equipment, but a great deal nonetheless on some shitty
Exactly.
A
equipment.
deal is a deal, man.
Right.
That's right.
And I knew what I was getting, and it was a great deal. So, it's just everybody's been offering up stuff that they don't mind getting rid of it, and they know I'm not going to call them if there are any
Complain
problems
about
with
it, yeah.
So,
Well, this is a great beer, and it works really well with this pizza.
I like it.
It comes off as a really kind of a bigger beer than what it is. The
Yeah.
coffee and everything. And
Right.
what you were saying about it's a brewer's beer. It's just like for
Doesn't
being
feel like
so
you're getting
low.
shortchanged.
Well, it's a great
but-
lunch.
Yeah.
It's a great lunch beer.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know many coffee flavored type beers that are sessionable like this. Most of them go extreme and get,
Right.
like the heavy, stouty.
Yeah.
chocolatey.
Sometimes that coffee, as I was talking to guys last night at the NHC, I'm like, I wouldn't want to drink 4 pints of coffee. Like,
Right.
I'll just sit back like, oh god, that's awesome. Like it's,
And there's
it's
enough
a little
flavor in
overwhelming.
it. Yeah.
Right.
But I definitely hope to drink 4 pints of beer.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's
Especially
just
at
getting the
4%.
night started. So, well, Lee, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to set up, and
Yeah, sure.
pizza was fantastic. I love this place. It's one of my favorite places in this area to hang out at.
Oh, by the
take it
way, that
down
was a
here
cool bike you had
Yeah.
at the Homebrewers Conference.
Right.
Did you build that, or?
We just kind of adapted it to a beer service station.
It's a cool bike that basically has a stand where you can put kegs and you can bike it around and serve people beer. Pretty cool.
It's kind of our festival bike.
There's a
Yeah.
whole bike theme to Blind Lady that happens too. It's,
Well, because you're a bike,
Ride your
like
bike
you
in
ride
and-
your bike everywhere, right?
Yeah, I try to. We have cars, but we try not to use them. And that might explain, not just being vegan, but trying to.
So you're pretty much just a big hippie.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Pretty accurate, really.
Well, we love it, and thank you for being greener than we are, because somebody's got to.
No, it's fun. It's nice. I live 6 blocks from here, so if I would be absolutely ridiculous to drive here.
yeah, it
Yeah.
will.
for sure.
I can walk here pretty easily, but running errands and getting around town. Our neighborhood, from here to Toronado, it seems kind of like a distance if you drive it, but it's really like a 15-minute walk. So
Yeah.
it's Toronado's right in North Park, and then
Well, this area of
Yeah.
San Diego is one of the few places in Southern California that is a walkable community.
yeah,
Versus like the general urban sprawl that you see in Southern California.
yeah,
So,
it's kind of tightening up. It's really encouraging. In the last 5 years, the neighborhoods have been a lot easier to get around by foot or by bike.
Yeah.
So, 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't want to have walked through a lot of the neighborhoods.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. gas prices going up kind of encourages some of the walking, but
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's been cool. It's nice to see the neighborhood's a lot of good beer establishments all over, and
Yeah, there's
better
like
good food, too.
a collection of really good craft beer bars within a stone's throw of this place. So,
Yeah.
What you're saying is beer creates utopian-like societies.
yeah, good
basically.
beer actually. Yeah,
Cool.
With all the bad beer bars, nobody walks around too much.
Right.
You get the
They stumble around a little bit more, but
right. Get
So-
good beer bars. It's good.
Anyway, thanks again, and as always,
Yeah,
stay
great.
safe and drink beer.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.